You saw the 2008 crash?
Yeah, just 10 days before I opened my account and started trading, and I suddenly got a call from my friend that at 10:30 market closed, and I do not know that market will close at 10:30, and that was the first low circuit that I witnessed. So from 2008 to 2014, I was like dabbling with markets, random stuff. And then by 2014, when I read a book, How I Made $2 Million by Nicholas Darvas, then I realized, okay, there is something called rule-based trading. Then by 2017, I thought, okay, if I could make 3x of my salary through trading itself, then why should I start working? I mean, continue to work. It's better to quit and completely focus on trading.
Somebody did this experimentation. Correct? Let's say like if you divide the entire wealth of the world and divide it equally among everyone, after probably 10 years or X number of years, you can see that the amount, the wealth again gets concentrated with some people, and again like 90% of the people would be.
It always follows this Pareto principle. 80% of the people makes 20% of the overall revenue. That is always. And then one day I was listening to Naval Ravikant's podcast. If there is one guy who has totally inspired me to a greater extent, who has transformed my life, that is one guy. That guy's podcast.
What's up everyone, Praful here and welcome to yet another episode of Breakfast with Traders, जहाँ पे हम बात करते हैं seasoned professional traders के साथ, so that you get the most real and raw image of professional full-time trading. In this episode, we have Kirubakaran Rajendran, a trader who has been in the markets for more than 16 years now. Kiru has been in IT sector for 6-7 years before taking up trading as a full-time profession, and he's a completely systematic trader with zero discretion in his trading. So let's have a discussion with Kiru over breakfast. Also, this video is going to be in English, and even though the video is going to be in English, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of takeaways from this video. So sit tight and watch the video till the end. Hey Kiru, thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks, Praful, for having me in the session. Good to see you after a long time.
Yeah, after a long time. I think last time we met in
Hyderabad. Goa, I think.
Goa or Hyderabad?
Yeah, Hyderabad.
Hyderabad, right. I think, yeah. So how's trading going?
All good, man. Going well. No, so far this year it's been pretty good. So up 55% luckily. No.
Calendar you are talking about?
Calendar year.
How's the financial year?
Financially, it should be up around 35%.
So like how long it's been since you are in this profession trading?
So with profession in trading, I started from 2008 onwards. So when I was in final year of my college, that is when I started my trading.
You saw the 2008 crash?
Yeah, just 10 days before I opened my account and started trading, and I suddenly got a call from my friend that at 10:30 market closed, and I do not know that market will close at 10:30, and that was the first low circuit that I witnessed. And then that is when also we started getting into options back then. Back then it was like you buy call option, you buy put option, no matter what it does, it always goes to zero. It was a very difficult journey back then. And later I joined Infosys through campus placements, and that is when I was trying to manage my work as well as trading. It is very difficult to manage your work as well as trading, right? Because you need to check all the open positions, trade. Sometimes you'll be totally occupied with the work. So my work at Infosys was more of like an application support, where I need to monitor the overall Bank of America applications throughout United States. So it's like a tiring work. I have to log into each and every server, monitor what is happening, and then take a report and send it. It takes 45 minutes of my work. And like every 45 minutes, I have to do this. Since this is taking a lot of time, I'm unable to manage my trading. I thought, why not I can automate this stuff so that I can manage trading. But I do not know anything about automation. I'm coming from a non-coding background. So I started Googling about how I could get this work done.
This was back in
2008.
So when did you start working at Infosys?
In 2008. My final year of my college, I started. I mean, once I'm done with my final year of college, 2008, I directly got placed in Infosys and started from July 2008 onwards. I started with Infosys.
And it was the exact same time like you started trading also?
Yeah, same time I started trading, and the main reason that I shifted totally is mainly because since I couldn't manage my work and this trading, I started automating my task. So since that was done, it was much easier. I'm having enough time to focus on trading. So slowly.
Achha, so I've heard a lot of people automate the trading, but like you automate your.
I automated my work because automation is totally new to me. I did not know anything about the work codes and everything. I just automated the task so that I could get the work done in 5 minutes and focus on learning trading. And then eventually, I did not tell any of my colleagues. One day my team leader found out, what man, you were able to do it in 5 minutes. These guys are still taking 45 minutes. Did you do something? I said, no, this is what I have done. Like, he was so shocked because that was beyond my scope of work. Because I just have to monitor and do this. Then he said, what you're doing is really good. Let's start automating all the tasks, which is taking a lot of time. Then I started focusing on that, and that greatly helped the whole team. And my work also was easily able to manage, where you just need to automate, and I can focus on the trading. Slowly I started managing the trading, and this gave me a huge push. Okay, if this can be automated, why not trading? But for that, until then I was a discretionary trader. Then I realized, okay, in order to become an automated trader, you need to have your set of own rules and everything.
I think we skipped a couple of aspects here. One is, you said that you're already a discretionary trader, and before even someone thinks of automating their trades, first thing is you need to understand the rules of the game.
True.
Correct. Like, right after you started trading, at that point though, there was no internet, like there was no high-speed internet, there was no mobile smartphones bhi nahi the, like there was no concept of YouTube, at least in India.
Yeah.
So where did you learn about trading? Like, how did you get into this?
See, I have a friend called Richard. He was studying with me in my final year of college. So during my final year of college, I used to work in different jobs. Like, I worked in McDonald's. I used to wash dishes. I worked in sales guy in high style showrooms where I was making 3,000 rupees. Because I'm coming from a very normal background where my mom is a tailor, and my dad worked as a clerk. He didn't finish 10th standard. So it was an extremely a normal lower middle class family. So I thought, what are the things that I could do to make certain money out of it? So my college gets over at 1:30. So I go to these odd jobs and start doing it. And one day when I saw this guy who was sitting at my college, at back then you get this Economic Times newspaper. They mention the share price of each and every company. Now it is not mentioned. Back then they'll mention each and every share price company. He'll just circulate. When I asked him what he is doing, then that is when he explained me, this is what stock market and this is what trading is all about. Then I got the curiosity. Okay, this is something where you can do it on your own. There is a high chance that you could scale it up eventually big time. So that gave me a huge push. Okay, I should start learning more about it. But as you said, there is no right resources. Even the internet connection that I had was like, it is free from night 10 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock. So I used to read the same economics news time paper. I do not understand anything. But whatever I do not understand, I just circulate, go back in the night. From 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, I read whatever things I don't understand. And back then, there is a community called Orkut community. In Orkut, there is an Indian stock market community with 93,000 members. So whatever things I do not know or do not have any doubts, I post it there. So people who are there, they just try to respond. And I now try to take a note of it and everything. I keep writing it. Then I realized, if you keep doing analysis, it's not going to work. So let me start trading with whatever the money that I had. Then I had 5,000 rupees. I directly went to share account, opened an account, started trading directly. Looking back, I thought that is much better than keep on doing an analysis, because once that your money is on stake, the real emotion starts kicking in. Then you will take irrational decisions. Then you start learning about the markets. So that is when it all started.
Like that, what happened to that first 5,000? Did you lose it all?
Definitely, because that is then just 10 days before the crash happened. I started trading. And what happened was, you always have a friend who will always push you up, no matter how bad that you are doing. When I started with 5,000, I thought I'm making 500 rupees of profit 2 or 3 days, because market was in a complete bullish mode just during the January period. Then this fellow, he came and told me, like, you are doing a really good job. I have 50,000 semester fees. Let us put this into the trading and let us trade it together and let's make good money. He said, yeah, that's not at all a problem. I said, let's do it. And that 50,000 we put into the markets. And that was a big bull run from 2004 to 2008 January. Big bull run. Like, whenever the market goes down, it goes up significantly. All you have to do is buy a call option so that it keeps going up, right?
That time, like, there was only Nifty call option.
Only Nifty options. So
that too monthly.
Yeah, only monthly. So we bought monthly options, and first day we made 1,000 rupees. He was so happy. Next day we made 1,500 rupees. Again, he was so happy. He said, like, okay, we are going to crack this. You buy one laptop, I'll buy one laptop. That was a deal for that 50,000 after we make good profits. Then one day when I was in college, he called me, market crashed, the lower circuit that happened. That 50,000 went to almost 10,000, almost 45,000 was lost. Remaining 5,000.
Semester ka fees.
Semester ka fees khatam ho gaya.
Pappu pass ho gaya, Kiru fail ho gaya.
And then, but that guy, that was a huge lesson, because he's a very good friend of mine, childhood friend. Now, when you're dealing with money, the relationship gets spoiled, right? Now we said, no, this is done. Like, I'm not going to talk to you. Then he took that 5,000. He said, I'm going to recover this 50,000 from this 5,000. And next day he called that 5,000 gone in one day. So everything, no, it's totally wiped out on that. But that was a huge learning experience during the beginning of my overall journey itself. So first thing I learned is never deal with your friends with money, no matter how close they are. You can help them, guide them, but don't deal with any kind of money relationship. And second thing, there is always, it takes a huge learning curve, for you to learn every aspect of trading. So from 2008 to 2014, I was like, dabbling with markets, random stuff. And then by 2014, when I read a book, How I Made $2 Million by Nicholas Darvas, then I realized, okay, there is something called rule-based trading, where a guy, a dancer.
Now, before jumping to 2014, like in this 8 years, like were you constantly
6 years.
losing in the 6 years? Like were you constantly losing, or were you like break even? Were you just losing and making it back?
Yeah, it was like that. I was losing, and then I'll start making money in 1 or 2 trades. Again, I'll start losing.
Were you using your salary to fund your trading account?
Yeah, because I was working with Infosys, right? That is the good plus when you have cash to keep funding your trading account if something goes bad. And I did the same thing. And I even remember the best or the worst trade that I've ever taken was after getting into Infosys, after getting campus placements and everything. There was this quarterly results that comes up, right? One guy said, like, there is a forum called TraderG. So TraderG was very active back then, where all the traders keep discussing, just like how we discuss in Twitter now. There it was very famous, and one guy told, this is a secret strategy. All you have to do is buy a call option and buy a put option, an OTM put option just before the result. Anyways, after the result, it will be in one-sided direction. Either your call will go to 0 or put will go to 0, but you will make huge money on one side. I did not know that is long strangle. I did not know about IV. I do not know anything about it. But that was so exciting as a new guy. So long, initially, I just bought one-sided direction. Now I am buying both the direction. Probably I'm going to make profits. So I initially bought for 50,000, then 60,000. Eventually, by end of the day, I kept on buying. The whole value itself is almost 1.5 lakhs worth of options I bought on long strangle, both call and put. And now you, as a trader, you start seeking for confirmation bias. You go and check in TraderG and everybody was very ultra bullish. Then I seek for confirmation bias from team leader. Is Infosys going to give a good result? Because I was still working there. He was also bullish. And that whole night I couldn't sleep because I was just thinking, what do I need to buy with this profits? I didn't even think about loss. I was just expecting it's going to be profit. Infosys always announces a result just before the market opens. So by 8:30, CNBC, everywhere the news was coming up that, okay, Infosys meets analyst expectation. So I thought this is bullish. Yeah, it meets analyst expectation. Market is going to open gap up. Put, I lose money, okay, but call, I'm going to make huge money. Market opened and both put and call crashed. I did not know that there is high V in all these things. Both crashed, and 1.5 lakhs went to almost 20,000. So almost all the profits gone, and that is almost equivalent to 6 months of my salary back then. So it was very hard to take that overall phase. Then I realized, no matter what, don't come into options unless and until you learn everything about it.
Now, did you completely quit markets for a particular amount of time, or were you still
I totally quit. I stopped tracking the markets altogether. I wanted to take good amount of break, go read whatever is possible, read whatever the books that is there, read whatever the blogs that is there. And then that is when I started
what did this loss do to your self-confidence?
See, it is not self-confidence as such, because if you're really making good profits and sort of all of a sudden you start making a loss, then you lose your self-confidence. I was not at all having confidence. I was not at all having confidence about the markets. I was just doing a random shit, right? But once from 2014, I thought there is something that needs to be done. And that is when slowly I started moving to rule-based trading, started reading more about the blogs. And luckily, I went and read about this market calls blog from Rajendran. So those are the things which taken me to a completely different route.
Now, this is something which a lot of people don't talk about. Okay, so in all your younger years, correct, when you had a job and you had a bit of amount from trading, I mean a bit of amount from your job, salary jo aata tha, and you use that salary to fund your trading account. You made a lot of mistake, you lost a lot of money. In order for you to fund a part of your salary into your trading account, you must have sacrificed a lot of your youth stuff, correct? When your friends used to go out, when your friends used to go for trips, when your friends used to indulge or something, basically you had to hold back. Looking at it from this point, do you think, oh fuck, just by learning to trade, I wasted a lot of my young years, which I'd not recover at any point of time?
No, two things that I would say. First thing is, I've compromised multiple things on material things. I did not go after material things where I wanted to use those money.
Not just about material things. I'm not talking about, okay, because you're 22, 23 at back then, right? Like, okay, a flashy new phone or a flashy clothing, or because like, you're making, if not the best amount of money, you're making a decent amount of money. And most of the guys like get into the job right after college. They want to kind of spend on themselves, like have experiences. Like when I talk about experiences, maybe trips with your friends or like going out on weekends.
But experiences, I always realize that you don't need a lot of money to do those experiences, because I the first trip that I went with my friends, everybody's share was 1,500 rupees. That's all. With 1,500 rupees, we still had the best time in Ooty. And again, every month or every year, we still go for this trip. And till date, we go for that trip. And one thing I realized is you don't need a lot of money to travel. And that part, I never compromise. I always go with them. I always make sure I go on a trip. But the main thing, the sacrifice came in the time that you spend. You spend so much of time with the markets. Like, when I got married and the kid was born, the first 3 years of my kid life, I couldn't witness it. I still feel very bad about it, because it goes past like that. The 3 years just goes past like that, and you couldn't focus more on your family time as such, because you spend so much of time with respect to markets, reading about the markets, backtesting. Even if they call you for a function to attend on Sunday, you will say, no, I have a lot of work. Not work as such work, but it is trading work. So I committed too much of my time with respect to this markets perspective during my initial years as a parent.
Do you regret that?
No, I don't regret that, because I realized that you need to spend a lot of amount of time in order to build the system. But once that is done, your work is done. Like, it's the foundation. You keep spending so much of time on the foundation of system building. And once that is done, I just need to have the discipline to stick to it. Now I have ample of time to spend with my kid. Like, when he was 5 years old, I quit my job. And then I had a trading, and then I was systemized trader also. So now I be with him. I go to the school with him. I spend a lot of time with him. We play around with him. And the first 10 years, right, out of that only 3 years was gone. The rest 7 years, every single day I tell him a story. I tell him a story about Warren Buffett. I tell him a story about Peter Lynch. But I make sure I spend a lot of time with him, because I've sacrificed enough time to stabilize the trading part.
So you made a comeback in 2014 after a good amount of study about the markets. Now, what is that thing like which gave you the confidence that now I'm ready? Ab main kar sakta.
So from 2014 to 2017, it took additional 3 years, where you need to understand how the rule-based trading works and how to backtest and everything. So when I started reading about market calls, Rajendran blog, I came to know there is something called Ami Broker. So using this charting tool, you can not only watch the charts. Until then, I was used to watching the charts. That tool gave me a conviction where you can backtest it. You can alternate the codes and try to backtest a specific system. So I started playing around with that Ami Broker, and then started developing multiple trading systems. Back then, there is no option selling. It is only futures. So I've been trading only on the futures, on the breakouts. So once I started creating a system, it took almost 3 years to realize, okay, this has been really working well. Then by 2017, I thought, okay, if I could make 3x of my salary through trading itself, then why should I start working? I mean, continue to work. It's better to quit and completely focus on trading. So that is when by 2017, I quit my job and then moved to trading. And then reality hit me hard. The next month I was making 7,000, and next month I was making only 2,000, 3,000, and third month it was minus 15,000, 14,000. Like, I was not used to like a guy who's been into the IT industry for 10 years, who gets a fixed salary no matter what. Suddenly, when you're used,
what was your salary when you quit?
Around 80,000 to 90,000. And then when I quit and moved here, like, I was making 3x, and suddenly your salary goes to 7,000, 2,000, 3,000. You are having a higher fluctuating income. You are not used to it. So you get paranoid. You can't sleep in the night. It takes a lot of time to convince yourself, okay, trading, this is what it looks like. If you're making 2 lakhs a month or 3 lakhs a month, it is not going to be into 12 times, and by end of the year, it's going to be highly fluctuating. Then I got adapted to it, and slowly I understand, okay, this is how it works. But when I quit, I realized, okay, whatever the expenses that I need for 2 years, I need to keep it. I don't need to rely on trading, at least for the initial period of time.
When you quit and when you took up trading as a full-time profession, what was your capital back then?
So back then it was approximately around 10 lakhs 10 lakhs.
You had saved up 10 lakhs.
Yeah.
And that was your net worth.
Yeah.
Entire savings.
Right.
With 10 lakhs, you started trading.
Right.
And you said that like it took you another 3 years, to get some other things into perspective. Let's say like if you were given the access to all the kinds of social media, the information overload that we have now, back in 2014, Would you think it would have taken 3 years, or would it have been like way less?
It would have taken 10 years. Because the problem is now not the lack of resources, it is ample of resources, and it is very hard to pick the right resources. You get confused to who is saying
You're
what.
bombarded with like
You're bombarded with lots of
options.
information. Back then, you have very limited information, but that was so good. Like those are genuine information. You tend to find only things which really worked, or things who have done the detailed research. But now it is like you open a YouTube channel, there are hundreds of channels talking about the markets, hundreds of channels talking about systemized trading. So you get confused very easily. But definitely, if this kind of resources is doing more bad than more good, but it is very hard to find out the best or good things. Like if you see, go and search in any videos in YouTube, there will be certain views which will have millions of views. There are certain videos which I watched only 5,500 views, talked by like Howard Marks or big guys of institutions. Even there is one particular video which I picked a lot of insights. That is from Stanford University. Only 5,500 views, hardly 20 comments.
Exactly.
So if you go by the views, it doesn't go. You are not going to get the good insights.
So this is a thumb rule, okay? Like if you want to have a deep, valuable knowledge, go for the content which has the least amount of views.
That is also true.
Or at least avoid the content which has the maximum amount of views. It's mostly generic knowledge and it's generic garbage.
True.
Right after you quit the job, you understood that the returns are going to be lumpy. It's not going to be 31st of every month I'm going to get like X amount fixed. वो तो नहीं चलता है. Like you saw that, okay, the returns are going to be lumpy. I'll have a very good month, then I'll have an extremely bad month. So how was the first year of full-time trading for you? Like, did you make money? Did you lose?
See, overall year, what happened is, it's done. Whatever the conviction that you had prior to quitting your job, it will greatly started testing my overall patience. You tend to have the self-doubt. This is when the first confidence question that you asked, right? Now it started, I started having all the self-doubts and everything, whether this would work or not, whether this is going to sustain or not. So again, the discipline part will come into picture. Now I have started spending so much of time in building the system, but in order to stick to the system, you need to have the discipline, right? And the discipline will be there for some months, it will not be there for some months. You will tend to see, okay, this particular trade has almost went to, say, suppose 20,000 of intraday profits. And suddenly by end of the day, if it closed at 10,000, you go and sit and try to spend the time in how do I capture the peak. Right. And next time when you take a trade, when it goes to 20,000, you try to override your system and try to come out of it, because it might tend to go down because of the recency bias.
Only to see that it would have
gone to 50,000, 60,000. So this things was there again another learning curve as a systemized trader, where okay, you need to have a discipline. So I always say this part where even if you make profits and if it is out of overriding your system, it is not worth it. If you're making loss, but if it is as a part of your system, it is okay. You have the discipline to stick to it, because the pleasure of winning profits is much lesser than the pain of losing money. Like it will always be there. If you ask me when was it, so that is very hard. So that is why I started giving importance to the drawdowns, loss part, risk part, rather than giving importance to the profits part.
So which was your best year after starting full-time trading?
This year. Luckily,
this year is the best
year.
So how was 2023?
2023, it's like almost 20% or 23%. It was stable, and because 23, I was trading only one indices, only one trade per week, like the whole week, only expiry, only 0 DT. I started always 0 DT options, and only with BankNifty.
Why didn't you try for positional systems?
See, positional systems, two things. With respect to options, I can do it, but as I say, you need to adapt to a certain trading system which suits your mentality. If it is intraday, I always tend to think that overnight has a higher exposure towards risk, if you're an option seller. So I'm doing a positional system, but that is on option buying. So even if it market wherever it goes, I do not need to worry about it.
Take hedged positions, right? Or like lower exposure.
Yeah, still I'm not comfortable with the overall risk reward ratio with respect to intraday and positional. And second thing, you need to have the margin of 50% and 50%.
Do you think this is your resistance to change, or do you think that your personality honestly doesn't suit that kind of system?
Two things. One thing is, once you have a sufficient funds, I have pledged everything. I have only 10% of capital in cash, rest everything in index funds and debt funds. Only 10% cash. If you have to take a positional basis, you need to have 50% cash and 50% this one. So in order to leave that 50% which I'm holding in asset class of equity, I have to make a higher returns with this positional. But whatever the system that I have tested so far, the compared to positional, intraday is giving me a better returns. So I thought, okay, let me stick to it. Probably now I'll be pushed to look for positional basis because of removal of weekly expiries. So only when you are in this kind of situation, you start exploring other options.
But even now, the most amount of money that you're making is mostly from Bank
Bank
Nifty
Nifty.
and Sensex.
Right.
Like now that the Bank Nifty itself is getting taken away,
Right.
and we have seen like how brutal both Nifty and Sensex have been over the past few months.
True.
So, do you think it's going to be harder for you?
Yeah, definitely. So most of the option sellers whomever I spoken to, their maximum profits has come from Bank Nifty. And now if that weekly option is removed, obviously then it's going to get reduced. The overall returns is going to get reduced. But what I think is once the overall, after November 20, the regime itself could change, where probably the same kind of price action which we saw in Nifty and Fin Nifty might not be there. It could be totally different. So probably I could come up with a system where I'll sit and watch for 3 months. I'm not going to interfere with it. After 3 months, then I'll have an idea, okay, this is how I could handle it. So probably my Bank Nifty could be replaced with Nifty after that. So we never know. Once the market regime shifts, I'll have a clear idea.
So now this is a very straight question. Okay, you may choose to not answer this.
Mm-hmm.
You have seen so much of fluctuations with respect to both the market regimes,
Mm-hmm.
and we have seen a lot of regulatory issues.
Mm-hmm.
Where overnight regulator comes and says no, this is not going to work, like suddenly, because we have seen both CFD and MCX go down the drain right in front of our eyes. 2 साल के अंदर MCX का भी liquidity चला गया and CFD में जो currency ज्यादा था वो भी चला गया. So even now we are looking at a similar kind of a regulatory regime where like the liquidity is going to dry up because of increased STT. The liquidity is going to dry up, and we have a lot of unforeseen risks, like the exchange might go down, your broker might go down, spikes are happening, the price ticks are erratic and all that. So taking into consideration all these things, if you knew all these things would be there in the future, would you still take up trading, or would you think, nah bro, like I'm better off with my job?
No, I would still take up trading because trading is the only profession that gives you a complete freedom. So you do have a regulatory issues that when you are dealing with this kind of highly regulatory environment, the problem is just like every Friday you are getting a new movie released. It is like every Friday you are getting a new circular now. But if you observe from 1994 to till date, earlier we had only 3 hours of trading window, only 3 hours. And when the exchanges came up to a circular that okay, we are going to increase from 3 hours to 6-7 hours, there was a huge strike. The whole market was closed for 20 days, and they were totally against it. And eventually it moved to 6 hours, 7 hours. And then after that, again when they try to push the market timing from 9 o'clock to 9:55. Earlier it was 5 o'clock, then they closed at 3 o'clock. So there were multiple instances where these things happen, and every time people will go against it, starting from leveraging, removal and STT implementation. The first time STT implementation was done from Chidambaram, again there was an issue. So after observing everything, one thing that is not going to change is coming up with new regulations every now and then. So we have to adapt and move on. But if I move from this one to some other profession now, after putting 15 years of effort in this, you become so proficient in it. Suddenly you can't go and venture into some other venture and start becoming good at it. No way it's going to be possible.
No, that is, you're talking about the sunk cost fallacy. Oh, I have already put in 15 years of my energy and effort.
That is there, but what I'm saying is you still have lot many things to explore. So still, if it is not options, you have another instruments to trade, right? You can still trade futures. Futures STT is increased 100%. But what if in case if you implement a swing trading strategy which trades only 1 or 2 trade a month, where your overall trade number of trades is going to be reduced, and still you could ride the trend. The main problem now we are facing is, as a trader, we have put in a lot of effort, time and effort in creating a specific system which we could make some money out of it, and you made some money out of it. Suddenly from 23 to 24 there was a shift, and again you go back to your drawing board, you started making certain changes, and now everything was, you were somewhere able to manage a spike, and so now again a new news came in. Now again you have to go back. So within this short span of time, we were bombarded with a lot of this regulation. So we totally fed up with all these regulations. So every trader is in that mindset right now. But still I would stick to trading. In spite of all these regulations, I would stick to trading because I've seen that freedom that is this particular profession has given me. And since I used to travel a lot, since I don't be in one specific place, I feel this is more of a zone suits you much better, and trading makes you a better person actually.
That is true. Like if you take up trading full time and if you really want to learn the game, it improves you as a human because you start to deal with your emotions better, like you understand the life better, like you get a different perspective of life. So that is 100% true. But if somebody wants to take up trading at this point of time,
Huh.
would you suggest? Would you advise him to take up trading, or would you say that no, bro, at this point of time it's not lucrative anymore? Probably you'd be better off doing something else.
You try exploring trading, but I don't per se get into option selling. See, now everybody is getting into option selling. You open any video, it will be specifically about option selling, because only when you talk about option selling, people will watch now.
Yeah.
If you talk about buy this stock, buy that stock, nobody is interested in
I think it's the cycle. No, they say that the time wheels.
Right.
Because 3 years, 4 years back, everything there was on YouTube was mostly about option buying. तुम ऑप्शन बाइंग करके पैसे को डबल करो, ट्रिपल करो, एक दिन में 100% आ रहा है, एक दिन में 200% आ रहा है. At that point of time, if a content creator had to get views, he had to talk about option buying.
True.
But over the last 3-4 years, especially after that COVID crash, jahan pe the sellers made an insane amount of money for the next 2 years, 2020 and 2021.
It was
After that, the keyword is option selling.
Right.
And now that option selling is so crowded,
Correct.
Probably it's going to be extremely difficult for probably the next 2-3 years to make money from option selling again.
Right.
And also, if you look at it, we are at that point of time where we are, the threat of World War III is looming, and we are at the top of the bull market. It's probably the exact same thing as what we were in the early 2008,
right,
or in the early 2020. And now, let's say, like, so much of people have gotten into option selling. There is a possibility that some of them might be pushed out of the markets.
True. That is true. 100% agree with that. And Praful, I have a question for you. Since you are a discretionary trader and I am a systemized trader, like, no, discretionary traders are not the one, like, they take random trades. You have certain principles, you have certain observation towards the markets, and based on that, you trade. What is something as a discretionary trader compared to a system trader, they have an advantage? What is one thing that they have a disadvantage with respect to discretionary trader?
One is, for a discretionary trader, I would say that you're not completely free. You're not completely free. No matter what, you need to have some sort of involvement with the markets for you to trade. It depends upon, like, what kind of trading you do. Like, if you're a positional trader, probably your involvement would be lesser. If you are an intraday trader, probably your involvement would be slightly higher. So depending upon the kind of trades that you take. One advantage is that you pick the regime shifts faster.
Correct.
Okay, because the systematic trader would want his system to tell him that something is wrong.
Right.
But since we are one with the markets, like, we notice that the regime is shifting and we would be the first ones to adapt. That is one advantage. And as you rightly said, we don't take random trades, but we also have a specific set of system rules, but those rules are malleable. What do I mean by malleable? It's like, I have a framework. जो भी खेलना है इस framework के अंदर ही खेलना है, but within that, the rules are malleable.
Right.
I can bend the rules here and there, but within the framework.
Right.
And once in a while, emotions do get better of us.
Right. Because
the discretionary trader. So once in a while, because as a discretionary trader, it's not just enough to conquer your trading life, but you need to conquer your life outside trading.
True.
Let's say, like, you don't have a good life outside trading, all those emotions will be spilled into your trading.
Since you are the sole person, the sole reason behind trading, taking that trading system or following that specific trading with respect to discretionary trading,
you wake up with a rage. Let's say you wake up with a rage. You wake up with anger or something.
You wake up with an hangover.
You wake up with a hangover. You wake up with anger, or you wake up with, yesterday's baggage. All those things you'll start to express in your trading.
True.
Right? Either you revenge trade, either you risk higher, or you get extremely scared to even put on a trade and you miss a good opportunity. And it has happened to me as well. And it has happened to me in the recent past, where, like, I overrode my rules and I took a slightly bigger loss, and that had an effect on my next trade.
Right.
And then the next trade, like, because of fear, like, I missed out on a good day, profit day, and the next trade I had like double regret ki, oh, us din maine zyada loss bhi liya, is din mein because of fear, like, I missed a good day. Now I need to make up for that. Now,
right.
That cycle, that momentum builds, just like how positive momentum builds. When a discretionary trader is doing extremely well, he rides on that momentum. The momentum is not just from, him making money. That is also a component of how he's feeling, how his gut feeling is.
Right.
And that gut feeling also rides on momentum.
Right.
If things are going well, like, you're very confident, like, you push the gas, you push the pedal, and you accelerate. Similarly, negative momentum also keeps building. So what I've noticed is, in order for you to stop that negative momentum, you need to first stop it. You can't, when the,
You have to be conscious about it.
exactly, the thing is, just like how the market moves, let's say like after a momentum, it needs to take a breather and then it has to slow and steadily reverse the direction. The trend has to bend first.
Correct.
You cannot like have this and this.
Right.
Okay, of course, intraday mein aise hi ho raha hai hamare market mein, but that's not the natural way
True, I get it.
natural way the things move. So similarly, like if you want to stop that negative momentum, first you need to halt that, and then you need to consolidate, and then you get back into that positive momentum.
True.
But for system traders, again, as I said, you have a lot of advantages, but at the same time, you lack that rapid adaptability.
Very true.
You are like one step behind when it comes to, adapting to the new market regimes. But where it's a mature market and you don't need to have too much of discretion about the market regimes, and there are not many regulatory changes, there are not many regime shifts, then probably you would be one of the most composed, and you'd be having like one of the most very good proper work-life balance.
True. Because as a system trader, the first thing that I do is I just keep a note of discretionary traders, what they talk about in the markets. If I could see a difference in my P&L, okay, my P&L starts deteriorating, it's not working well, then I look into the discretionary traders. Like if you would have posted a tweet, remember the first expiry was on September, and you were sure that rest of the month is going to be bad, and that is how it has happened, right? So you add the sense of pulse about the markets, because no amount, whatever the effort that we system traders put in, the number of chart hours that you guys put in is exceptionally much higher. So no matter whether I'm a discretionary, systemized trader, I can backtest multiple systems, but your screen presence cannot, I cannot compete with that.
This is another thing like I want to point out from that tweet, okay? I posted this tweet in the first week of September itself, like where if the first couple of days of the month are hard, then most of the time that month would be
hard.
This is the analyst me speaking. Like this is what, but
as a trader,
me, I still went ahead and traded the entire month. I ended the month in red. So that's what I say, like, don't follow analysts.
True.
Because giving analysis to someone else is completely different than acting upon that analysis.
Right.
So I knew that it's going to be hard, but I went ahead and like, okay, dekhte, like I ended the month in red. After a really long time, probably after 40 to 43 months, like first month I ended in red. Then if I go back to my own tweet, अरे ये तो मैंने फर्स्ट 3 दिन के मतलब 3 दिन के बाद ही मैं बताया था कि ये मंथ सही नहीं होने वाला है. I could have reduced the size, I could have. So analysis and execution, they are completely different. So people think that, oh, the guy who's giving like great analysis is going to be making longest amount of money. No, he's not.
It's totally opposite.
He's making money based on his tips and analysis. So Kiru, let's come back to your strategies, your trading methodology and all that. Like you have predominantly been a system trader.
Right.
Correct? Like there is absolutely no discretion in your trading, right?
Right.
And you have made it a point to trade only expiries for over the last
3-4 years.
3-4 years now. What is your current strategy look like? What is your, basically, I know that at this point of time, you're not trading just a single strategy because it attracts a lot of concentration risk.
Right.
We'll be running probably like a bunch of 4, 5, 6 strategies, because last time I had a system trader on our show. It was Amod.
38 strategies.
Yeah, he watched that.
I know.
So he ran basket of 38 strategies.
Right.
Like, do you run a bongously enormous amount of strategies, or like you have?
No, I have only 3 strategies, and all these 3 strategies are totally uncorrelated. Where one is mostly a non-direction system, and the other one starts activated when the non-direction system gets into a directional phase, and the third one is an option buying positional system. And I primarily trade on larger indices. When I say larger indices, it's like BankNifty, Sensex, because the kind of system which I had deployed, it doesn't work well with Nifty, FinNifty, mid caps, and all these indices. So I trade on Wednesdays and Fridays. I used to trade BankX, but BankX have stopped it. The overall contribution from BankX could be maybe 10% for this year. But anyways, it's going to be moved to monthly indices, so I totally stopped it. And I'll be sticking to BankNifty and Sensex only. And I'm concentrated on 0DT because the overall strategies which I've designed is completely based on a core principle. Say for an example, trend following is a core principle. Momentum is a core principle, where a stock that comes into a momentum will continue to be in a momentum unless and until another force acts upon it. It's kind of a law, physics law. Trend following, it's like as long as a breakout happens and the trend rides, you ride the trend until it bends. With respect to options, you have this statistical data which states that more than 90% of the OTM options expire worthless on expiry. This is normal stat. Now, what I could do mathematically or statistically in order to find, okay, what is the probability of this OTM will remain in OTM by end of the expiry. Accordingly, I start creating strategies on top of that. So that is the whole core principle behind my system. And based on that, I just run it only on 0DT. If I could run it on other DTs like 1DT or 2DT, it is still profitable, but the overall risk to reward ratio is higher on 0DT. So that is why concentration is high.
Now, what would be your approach going forward? Because most of your profits have come from BankNifty. Now, if BankNifty goes away, if it is, let's say, Nifty and Sensex, Sensex तो फिर भी रहेगा. But if it is Nifty, would you trade it on Nifty, or like would you just wait and watch for some time?
See, definitely my profitability will go down 50%, and it is not only going to stop with the traders, it's going to completely affect the whole ecosystem, right? So even the broker is going to have a 50% hit, all the ecosystem is going to have a 50% hit. So I'm ready to take that 50% hit right now. So next year I've fixed that, okay, my returns is going to be half of what I've made now. But as you rightly said, discretionary traders are much earlier to adapt to this market regime, right? So from November 2020 till January, I have this 3 months of window time frame to adapt my system to the Nifty or Nifty 50. Okay, if I could come up with a certain rules or changeover of modified rules for that Nifty 50, from January onwards I'll apply. So it is not that from November 2020, it's totally stopped, Nifty is going to come, I'll right away jump into it. I'll wait and watch for 3 months. And also I'll get to know what these discretion traders also giving details about.
So you'll be watching my tweets.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll get an insights from them also, and then I'll start incorporating into my system, and then from January onwards I'll go with Nifty and Sensex.
Now, I saw one of your tweets where you said that like you're gonna pull out half of your capital and you want to like invest in. Currently, your capital is 2 CR.
Right.
You wanted to withdraw like 1 CR.
Yeah.
Now that you understand that your return's gonna, get halved going forward. So are you gonna still proceed with pulling out that half of your capital, or you're gonna keep trading with whatever the capital you have right now with 2 CR?
No, I've already pulled out the capital. So what?
You want to infuse it back?
No, I do not want it. So yeah, it's not that I want to keep it aside and save from the market losses. It is like as long as it is there in your account, it is always be a numbers. And I just need certain things which should be emotionally connected to me. And I always had this dream of buying a like high rise, but I never wanted to own a house. Whenever I go and cross in high rise, I'll put my bike there, I'll stand and I'll just look into it at least for a few minutes, and then I'll cross.
Do you own a house now?
Now I bought it. So I withdrawn my profits and directly went one day to that particular high rise apartment, and I just went there and I was looking at it. I thought I'll buy it. Until I always against buying. If you see all my tweets, I'm always against buying a property. It is not worth buying, putting all your money there, going for loan and everything. But that moment I was emotionally into it. I thought, okay, let me buy this. I've been watching this since my childhood. Why not buy it? Then that day itself, the decision was taken immediately. You're buying a 1 crore worth of flat, and it came up so fast. If I have to order something in Swiggy, I take 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour. If I have to watch some movies in Netflix, I take 2 hours. But this kind of life's big decision, it just comes emotionally. So I thought that is something that I should take out, feel it, enjoy it.
So now your cap has come to 1 CR.
1.5 CR now. It's like I made some additional money this year, right? So it's almost 1.5 CR now.
So with 1.5 CR, you're going to go ahead and trade for the
I'll continue to trade. And like I just increase my overall risk appetite as the market moves, as the returns increases, or I'll reduce the overall size as the returns reduces.
Now, you have been always wary of not getting into positional trading, right? Like now, with this current regime shift, are you planning to explore something in positional?
Yeah, I'll definitely try to explore it. See, now I'm open to everything. Like you are pushed to the corner right now. Like you don't have any other chance. You have to do something, right? I always very lethargic about creating new strategies. So if something is working well, don't dabble with it. Just leave it.
As they say, necessity is the mother of all inventions.
Very true. So
I'll also be dire need of something, then you'll be pushed to the corner, basically, right? Kiru, apart from trading, like, do you have any other sources of income?
Yes, man. I have a separate platform, algo platform, SquareOff bots. So what I did was from day one, I'm so sure if I keep pulling out the capital from my trading account, it's not to grow over the long period of time. So there should be an additional source of income. It could be rental income, it could be FD income, or it could be the bots platform income. It could be anything. As long as these multiple streams of revenue is there, I do not need to pull out the capital very often. And like it gives you a snowball effect. As long as you keep running it and compounding it, it's going to grow up. If I could make 30% a year, I could double my capital every 2.5 years. But if I keep pulling on the capital, I'm not going to grow up, right? So it is always wise to have a multiple streams of income. So these multiple streams of income has taken care of these taxes part, or no, even if I need to take care of the expenses, it's not known. Even the FD incomes is more than enough for me to take care of the monthly expenses. So these things greatly helped to be, focused completely on trading part. It is like walking on a tightrope without any safety if you don't have any specific backup. It could be any kind of backups. But if you have that backup, your complete concentration will be on the rope. You can easily walk and reach the other, next up. So that greatly helps you.
Now, what percentage of your net worth is in your trading account?
Almost some 70%.
So your net worth is somewhere around 2.5, 3 crores, probably like 1.5 CR.
Right.
And what percentage of your trading income is, let me put it other way.
Whether the trading income and the additional sources
what's the breakup of your monthly income?
See,
how much percentage of it is from trading and from other sources?
Approximately, sometimes the problem is if you are a trader and if you're also an entrepreneur, sometimes you make enormous profits in trading, it will not be equated in this business part. And if you make good money here and you'll be feeling bad about the trader. On an average, I always make around 5 to 6 lakhs from trading, 2 to 2.5 lakhs in other source of income.
Okay. So what about the taxes part? Most of the taxes will be taken care of from your other. You don't pull out.
So this is the only time I've pulled out the money to pay the property thing where I need to withdraw a huge amount of money. This is the first time I pulled out huge corpus from trading.
Well, what's your end goal?
See, if you asked me 5 years before, I would have said, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. A lot many goals were there. Now I'm in a position where I just need time. I want the time to be in my control. So I don't have.
Feel like the life is like time is running away from you?
Not running away. I don't want to get committed with too many goals. Like when there is a lot of uncertainty in life, even if you plan 5 years down the line, I'm not going to, whether it is not sure they want to achieve it or not. But I make sure whatever current day, say if today I'm coming for this shoot, I just make sure I'm prepared totally for this. I put 100% with respect to what I'm currently doing, which is going to automatically take care of the future.
So be in the present.
Yeah, totally be in the present. So I wanted to be in the present as much as possible. Say even if in the morning when I wake up, the first thing is I directly go and sit in my terrace, no phone, nothing. Sit there. Even I try to do meditation, you can't control your mind. So what happens is your mind keeps running throughout the day as a trader, as an entrepreneur, right? Give first 1 hour of your time. Once you wake up, go sit on the terrace, just observe anything. Your mind will be like the dog that you take to a beach without a leash. What will happen? It will run away, it will go there. Like if you keep chasing it, it will not come to you. You just sit and watch the ocean, you sit and watch the sea. Eventually the dog will get tired and come and sit next to you. Yeah. So the mind will take almost 30 to 40 minutes to run, and eventually finally it will get tired. And whatever thoughts that you add to think about the whole day, it will think, and finally after the day starts, you will not have anything to run in your mind. It will always be thought about it, and you always add the action about to work on it, and the rest of the day goes very smoothly.
This did you come up with this in the later part of your trading life, or like you were doing this right from the beginning?
No, I wanted to learn about meditation, and whatever people thought about meditation is go and sit and focus only on one thing. That never worked for me. And then one day I was listening to Naval Ravikant's podcast. If there is one guy who has totally inspired me to a greater extent, who has transformed my life, that is one guy. That guy's podcast. Like my total perspective towards life totally changed. So from then onwards, I started experimenting these things like traveling. Traveling totally changed my perspective about people and everything. So in life, looking at the life itself, like I feel so blessed being born as a human. Prior to 10 years, if you ask me, I should have born as a bird, born as a dog, no responsibilities, nothing. But now it feels more grateful to being a human.
That's a very good perspective to have. I mean, without that, you'd be very cynical.
Yeah, totally.
And you'd be bitter. You're bitter towards yourself. You'd be bitter towards life in general. So that's the only way to probably live, I guess.
Yes.
Be 100%. Grateful. So Kiru, it was an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me here.
And you've had a great long stint in the markets, and I hope you had a further longer stint in the markets. Probably let's catch up some other time.
And I wish you the best, and it's going to be a new playing field for you. And whatever you observe, please put a tweet. Even if it doesn't help you, it will help even a system trader like us.
Absolutely. It's going to be an uphill battle for us as well, because even discretionary traders, like we struggle to change our muscle memory as per the market regimes, and so it's gonna take a while for us to adjust. But only thing that I've told myself repeatedly is that this is not the phase to be making money. This is the phase to be protecting money.
True.
So another thing, like what I've told myself over the last few months is, okay, I need to make money week on week, month on month. But last month, probably that kind of given me a perspective shift. Ki, chalo, it's not as bad. Like even if we have a losing month, probably if we have a losing quarter, because we have read a lot about these hedge funds and all that. Like they have gone flat for like years.
True.
So probably we'll be fine.
Even if you see Dunn Capital, which has been running for last 50 years, 1970 to almost 2024, they've been running a single set of strategies, a trend following system for a longer period of time, and they have seen a time drawdown like for years, not even for months or weeks. They've seen for years, but still they were able to beat the index to a greater extent.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.